Okay, on number 10, you are a producer of a 30-minute show. All right. Each of the um, each of the bullets that you see in on number 10 on page 210 tells a restriction or a piece of information that helps you to define the inequalities that you're going to graph. So, for instance, the first bullet says, as a producer, you have a maximum of $9,000 to spend on entertainment for Monday's show. The second bullet says 8 minutes is reserved for the show's opening, closing, and commercial segments. The remainder of the time is available for featured guests. So each of those bullets tells a restraint. Well, first off, if we're going to let X represent the number of minutes that Still Beat group performs, and we're going to let Y represent the number of minutes that Maria Bunion performs, well, if we have a 30-minute show and 8 minutes of that is taken for commercials opening and closing, that leaves 22 minutes left for the performers. So one of our very first inequalities could be that X plus Y is going to be less than or equal to 22. Okay? And it can go all the way up to 22, but at most it can be 22 minutes. Okay? Also, the other inequalities that we had noticed that we're going to assume that the Still Beat performers are not going to go negative, so they're going to have greater than or equal to 0 number of minutes that they're going to perform. As the same for Maria, she's going to have greater than or equal to 0 number of minutes that she will perform. So those are some inequalities right there. All right. Now, going to the first bullet, as a producer, you have a maximum of $9,000 to spend on entertainment for Monday's show. Now you can have less than $9,000, so your amount could be less than $9,000. Okay. We notice that Still Beat charges $600 a minute when they play. So if they go 2 minutes, it's $1,200. If they go 3 minutes, it's $1,800. So we're going to let 600x represent the total amount of money that is spent on the Still Beat group. Likewise, Maria Bunion goes for $300 a minute. So we're going to let 300y less than 9,000. So that y less than 9,000 is going to be the budget constraint. Okay? So that's the total amount of money. Now you notice that all these numbers are divisible by 300. So if I divide this side of the equation by 300, divide this side of the inequality by 300, here I'm going to get 2x plus 1y is going to be less than or equal to 30. Right? Less than or equal to 30. And as a matter of fact, if I let x be 0, let y be 0, if I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to graph this, if I let x be 0, that means y is going to be 30. And if I let y be 0, that means x is going to be 15. So we're going to keep those points in mind as we go ahead and develop our graph. All right, another bullet states that Still Beat will not appear on the show unless they are allowed to perform at least one number lasting at least 3 minutes. So we're going to say that x is going to be greater than or equal to 3. All right, they can perform more than 3 minutes, but the very least they're going to perform is 3 minutes. And then the last bullet states Maria Bunion will not appear unless she is allowed to perform at least as long as Still Beat. Last bullet then is y is going to be greater than or equal to x, which, by the way, is the same as y is greater than or equal to 1x plus 0. So that gives us a hint on how we're going to graph that inequality. All right. So here we go. We have a listing here then of 1, 2, 3. Let's bring down the other other 3. We have x plus y less than or equal to 22. And we also have x greater than or equal to 0. And y greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So, keeping these two inequalities in mind first, let's go ahead and draw a graph, because we know now that this is going to be in the upper right hand portion of a XY coordinate plane. Okay? So let's take a look at the each of these inequalities. So the very first one I have here, if I go 0, 30, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30. Remember, each of these lines represents minutes that each of the groups are going to perform, and it's a 30-minute show, the most of which is going to be 22. But let's continue. So if I let on this first one I go 0, 30, which is going to be right here.